the service is available on port 8080, and we can open the browser and we can see hello world. So the application actually is working, but there is one problem. And the problem is that if I wouldn't have this magic IDE that tells me what port was opened or listened to by this application, I wouldn't simply know it. How should I ever know on which port and on which path this application is running? To solve this, we do a small change. You have seen already the SE bootstrap start method, which has a single parameter, which is the application. What I have not shown you is that there is an outcome of that. And to that outcome, we can say then accept, because this is a future. What we get here is actually a completion stage, which is a special type of future. You know completion stages since Java 8. Possibly by using the completable future class, which is a special implementation of the stage. So what's it good for? Because start is returning long before actually the application is started. So if we wouldn't have thread current thread join, for example, the server would do nothing. It would start up, it would stop immediately, and the virtual machine would not proceed. It would terminate. So we need this to actually stop the virtual machine from terminating, and we can register a callback method to learn things about the boot process. So we get here the actual running instance once it actually is running, and from that, sorry, typo, we can learn several things. For example, we can ask for the actual configuration the server is using, which is nice, and from that we can ask for the port, for example, or even better, there is a base URI. There even is a base URI builder. That's pretty nice. But let's stay with the base URI, and we want to print that on system out print line. So when the original thread already is hanging here forever, and this is deliberately, we really want this process run forever until we send a kill 9 or shut down the server. When the booting comes to a point where the server actually is what we all say running, well, it's not defined what actual state is, but let's call it running. We can receive the configuration from it and ask for the URI. So if we do this again, so there was already another process waiting for this again. So if we do this again, we see here the actual URI. And this is the URI we're ending in the browser. So if you ask yourself what this is the routing into the JIT-pod system. So I have a public URI here which I can use to route into my application, and inside of this Docker container this is running in its routing to 8080. So if we would have a public domain name, we could certainly use that instead. So what we like to do next is that we actually do not want to have this running on 8080. Typically people expect services to run on port 80, so they don't need a port, or they want to have a custom port or something like that. So this is the next step. We want to configure the port the service is running. And how could we do that? Well, let's start with configuring the port in a programmatic way, and after that we will go into a way where we can configure from the outside. So what we need to extend is here, after the application instance, we need to provide a wanted configuration, which is different from this one. This is the actual configuration. And the wanted configuration is created from SE Bootstrap configuration builder, and we configure it by providing the wanted port, which is, for example, 9000, and then we have to say build. Okay, create a builder, provide the wanted port to the builder, we say build, and the result is the wanted configuration. So if we start that, now we see it started on port 9000, and still we can open the browser to access it.